Welcome to the webinar from the IFLA Management of Library Association section on financial sustainability. My name is Loida Garcia-Febo, Chair of MLAS as we know it, and I am truly delighted to welcome you to this important webinar, part of our Building Strong Library Associations initiative. I would like to share my screen briefly. Today's topic, financial sustainability, is absolutely crucial. As library associations, we play a pivotal role in empowering the library profession, advocating for access to information, and supporting our members in times of change. But none of that is possible without strong foundations, and that includes financial health and long-term sustainability. This is why MLAS created this global webinar series to support library associations with the tools, strategies, and real-world insights needed to thrive. Through partnerships with different colleagues across the world, we are creating spaces to exchange ideas and build capacity across continents. In our previous webinars, we've explored advocacy, strategic planning, and aligning with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Today, we are turning to how library associations can sustain themselves financially and structurally, so they can continue doing vital work for many years to come. Whether you are from a large national association or smaller regional group, the financial realities we face today require innovation, adaptability, and collaboration. This session brings together a panel of experienced leaders and practitioners who will share practical strategies, lessons learned, and resources to help us all navigate this terrain more confidently. As chair of MLAS and someone who has had the honor of working with associations in many parts of the world, I believe that financial sustainability is not just about budgets, that's very important, but it's about also resilience, vision, and the abilities to support our communities through sustained advocacy and the empowering voices of our library associations. So thank you for being here with us today. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the MLAS members and officers, and the new professional special interest group convener, Dr. Paria Area, and the members, because they are supporting these webinars very strongly. Thank you for investing in your associations. It's each one of you, and your colleagues and the future of the profession. We have a rich program ahead, and I look forward to the insightful presentations and the vibrant discussion we'll share together. Our speakers today are Sharon Memis, IFLA Secretary General, Jelena Glisovic, President of the Serbian Library Association, Jyoon, MLAS Secretary, and also Secretary of the 2025 Congress of Southeast Asian Librarians General Conference and Meeting, and former Vice President of the Librarians Association of Malaysia. We also have Motinta Mwemba Nabuyanda, President of the Library Association, Library and Information Association of Zambia. Louis Kafan Gon, Chief Executive Officer, and Duncan Anthony, Chief Commercial Officer at CILIP, the Chartered Institute of Library and Information Professionals in the UK. And Brett Bonfield, Executive Director of the New Jersey Library Association, and member of the American Library Association Endowment Trustees. Thank you so much to all. And now I would like to welcome Sharon Memis, IFLA Secretary General.
Thank you very much, Loida. Let me try and share my screen, I hope. Right. Okay, then. Thank you. So let me try and begin. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation to join you. And I'm going to take a slightly broader look, and that's probably because IFLA is broader and global than compared to most other associations. But I still hope that it will be useful for you. So the three areas I want to talk about are, financial sustainability and sustainability more broadly, because I will argue that financial sustainability as a single objective is not sufficient. I want to also talk about what we are actually doing at IFLA and how we're approaching that. And that is very much through partnerships and through many of the staff and partners who are working in advocacy, because we would see advocacy, partnerships and sustainability as very much being part of the same space. And I want to also talk and focus perhaps a little on one aspect of financial sustainability rather than membership in particular, but something around bids and grant proposals, because we've been doing some work and we've already got some material that I hope will be useful for our members. And talk finally really about some of those resources available and what we're going to do. Okay, so on this slide, just thinking really about then sustainability, which is that S, if you like, that in the middle of the Venn diagram. Because financial sustainability is, I would consider, a success indicator rather than an end to pursue. What matters is really whether we are strategic, whether we're relevant, whether we've got those advocacy skills and can tell incredible stories about what we can achieve. And that much of that is around partnerships, that working alone and isolated is not a recipe for success. So the way that we think about sustainability is in a very broad sense. It's not just sustainable development. It's not just strategic sustainability. It's not just financial sustainability. In order to achieve that sort of nirvana, if you like, of that financial sustainability, everything has to be in place. For IFLA, that is very much about global relevance. And global relevance is important because the context in different countries and the priorities in different countries and the expertise in different countries is really very different, very diverse. But that is also our strength. And the complexity of being in a global association and organization is that that difference can, for some people, sometimes be uncomfortable. And how we manage to get over that, and that is, I think, partly the role of IFLA, is to bring all of those different values together to find that common ground where we can have the conversation, where we can build the partnerships and look for that financial sustainability. And if we are not providing value, if we're not providing opportunities, if we're not relevant, if we're not supporting, then we can do as many membership campaigns as we like. That's not what is going to make people join. People join IFLA for different reasons, but a lot of it is about the relevance and are we resonating with what they're doing? And once we can do that, we can build the membership, but also we can look elsewhere. And why I say advocacy is such an important part of this is that if you're thinking about looking externally for funders, there are very few organizations that say, I want to fund libraries. But there are lots of organizations that fund things that libraries do brilliantly. And I want to come back to that. And the advocacy, and I know, Loida, you referred just before to the webinars you did around the Sustainable Development Goals. And that is such an important element, because one of the reasons that we use these Sustainable Development Goals as a framework is not because it is an intrinsically good thing to do. It's relevant for the global north. It's relevant for the global south. But it gives us the tools and the language that people outside of the library world that we have to engage with to get some of that funding. They understand it. So that, I think, is why I can't see financial sustainability as an end, but rather as a success indicator. And the way we think about partnerships is very much as, if you like, 2 + 2 = 5 or more. We all can bring something different to the table. And I often think about partnerships as thinking about the gaps and what we bring to the table. So if we're looking at a project we want to do, something we want to achieve, we may be looking for different things, as other partners may be looking for different things. And it may be around investment, it may be around influence, it may be around innovation, or it could be around impact. So some people can bring money or resource. Some people can bring hard to reach networks. Some people can bring influence. But looking and working out what we're all doing, it's not always about money, but it can help. And sometimes doing a strategic partnership initially can help lead to that recognition and that track record to get the bigger things. And partnerships is fundamentally what IFLA is about. You know, we are a complex network of partnerships. We have not just our members, but we are an official observer status at the UN. We partner with WIPO, we partner with UNESCO and many others. And all of those we can gain leverage from. And all of our members have their own partnership networks. And sometimes putting those together can create that 2 + 2 = 5. And I think it's just worth reminding ourselves that we have an incredible asset in our libraries and library associations. That idea that we have this pre-existing, versatile, very inclusive and recognized infrastructure for building a better future for all, alone, in partnership, and with others globally. And we don't always recognize the assets that we have, and I think we sometimes undersell them, which is why looking at those advocacy skills, I think, is so important. And I want to turn to some work we've been doing around grants and availability and bid writing. And although development funds and aids, and certainly the Americans will not need me to tell them what's happened to US aid. So funds have really been hit, but it's happening everywhere. It's getting more competitive, but actually there is still quite a lot out there. And as I say, in areas where there's not really funding for libraries per se, but there's an awful lot in areas where we just do brilliant work, whether it's in education, literacy, digital engagement, misinformation, media literacy, knowledge management, democracy. And libraries can be the essential partners, and the library associations who can draw on the different strengths and the diversity of their membership are absolutely critical partners here. And just to take some examples from 2024, where we did some work looking at what was out there in terms of bids. And 2,000 education, arts, civil society, libraries and environmental expression of interest calls were published in 2024. From foundations, average grants and foundation funding 1 to 2 million. 35% of funding is from donors like the World Bank, the UK Foreign Commonwealth Development Office and their counterparts, the EU, Asian Development Bank. Huge amounts of money are out there. And 25% is still coming from governments, and some governments are still active in this area, and particularly in MENA and East Asia. So a lot of money is coming from these foundations, and the value of these that we calculated where libraries have a relevant key role. It was around 10 billion US dollars last year. So there's a lot out there, and libraries aren't always bidding for them. And that, I think, is kind of an important lesson. But just to come to think about bids, and I'll share some resources that we have after this, is bids is only one aspect. Of course, the strategic partnerships, building those long-term relationships are absolutely essential. Just as membership, the conferences, but often it can be a grant and a contract that enables you to do your strategy, to deliver what it is that you're actually trying to do, but brings in that extra resource. And that can be a real sort of step change in the impact that we can achieve as libraries and library associations, and can certainly help in sustainability. Because the more that you're able to do those sorts of projects, the more you are attractive, if you like, to other members as well. So I want to just take a sort of final kind of slide really about when to bid and when not to bid. So this idea, I hope you can see the screen. As I say, I'm still worried that you're not seeing quite what I want you to see. But when you think about bidding for projects, do make sure that you're doing it in a strategic way. And we did some work and we have some guidelines on this, but ensuring that it fits with your strategy. So making sure that when you bid for something, it fits with what you're doing, that you've got the track record, that you can take that expertise to it. And you need to do quite a lot of market intelligence to look around and see what the opportunities are. And that's something that we at IFLA are beginning to do quite a lot. Thinking about, is it actually worth it? What is the return on investment? Because sometimes small bids can look easy, but they can take as long to do as a big one. And that again is where your partnerships can come in, working across organizations, associations in different countries, with other organizations, working with universities, working with business, working with other bodies. That can make a difference. I think the thing as well is that bids do take time, building up the relationships, because for many foundation grants, as you all know, it's not an open call. You have to get to know them. They have to get to know you. It takes time to build those relationships. And if you're thinking about financial sustainability, I would also always say that a good rule of thumb is minimum think of 3 years for this as a process to take you to a place where you're bringing in and winning. The industry average is around 25% that you would win. A good score would be around 50%. That's the best. And often it's closer to around 10, 15%. So it takes time, takes resource, and you have to think longer term. And it's about prioritization. Because it takes time and resource, don't go for everything, but go for the things that really fit and where you think you have a reasonable chance of winning. So that would be a way that we would look, a framework, if you like, for when to bid. And just to highlight some resources that we have available and that these will be growing. We have a consultant who's been working with us who did a really good webinar on the basics of grant writing. He's going to be doing some more webinars and they will be available, and you can access those on the IFLA YouTube. And he's also done a report, which is in our repository, on the basics of grant-based partnerships. We're also going to be doing some work around how we can support everyone in just how you actually cost projects so that you can be competitive. And what we're trying to do as well generally is invest in IFLA's regional offices. So we focus very much on MENA and Asia Oceania. So we want to be, over the next 12 months, looking at how we can work there to help build the capacity and capability in those offices to look for partnerships in the region. What we won't ever be doing is competing on your home territory. So we wouldn't compete for the same funds that ALA would go for or anywhere else. However, if by bringing in a global voice that can enhance the bid, that's when it may be useful for us to partner. We're looking particularly at the EU, where we've been very successful. We look at foundations that are funding internationally, and we look to work with others to enhance their bids. So those are some of the ways in which I hope IFLA practically will be trying to help. And finally, just to say, and to remind you of my earlier slide, do not undersell yourselves. Libraries are incredible organizations full of still the most trusted people in our society. Get the language, get the skills, work together, and that can really be the financial sustainability is then really a massive success indicator for being relevant, strategic, and successful. So that's all from me, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sharon. This is a great perspective, and it absolutely sets the frame for today. Wonderful. Also, the resources, I'd like to encourage everyone to look into them. Very helpful. IFLA has spent a great deal of time and effort in this to help library associations worldwide. And now I would like to welcome Jelena Glisovic from Serbia. Before I do that, I would like to encourage people to type their questions in the Q&A, and the speakers are free to engage with the attendees on the Q&A and answer any questions you think you can answer. And we will take questions at the end after all our wonderful speakers have shared their presentations. Now, welcome, Jelena.
Thank you, Loida. Thank you, colleagues, and thank you to Management of Library Association section for the invitation. It's a really great pleasure for me and honor to be with you together today and talk about this, I would say, a huge topic for all of us. And thank you, Sharon, for this great introduction. It was very inspirative, and I think that some of my slides will just follow up on the something that you mentioned. So I can now share the screen, yes? And to save the time, so this is the title of my presentation, and we will just start with some brief information that are related to today's topic. So Serbian Library Association is a representative non-of-the-profit organization and the biggest in the culture in Serbia. We have 2,000 registered members and annually active, which means with a paid membership for current year, from 800 to 900. We always know that number for each year at the end of the year because it is possible to become member through the whole year. All positions are voluntary within the Serbian Library Association, except the position of the secretary, and he's, I must say, unfortunately paid only, it is a half-time job for him. Although it is very often full-time job, but he's paid 50% of the librarian's salary, average librarian salary in Serbia. And some of our priorities that I would like to share that are connected to the topic are decentralization, professional support, status of the profession, and some our national priority topics. And also we're following emerging trends globally, and this is where we very much rely on IFLA. When it is about our activities for each year, we have some events and publishing. This is the main thing. So I tried within this presentation to be short as possible and to focus just on the topic. There is, of course, a lot of things more to mention and speak about, but for now, this is, I think, most important. So we have at least 6 on-site events during the year and at least 3 printed issues. So it is 2 issues of our scientific journal Librarian, which is very highly rated in Serbia as a scientific journal, and the conference peer-reviewed proceeding each year. And from this year, we started with also online editions of the proceeding from the smaller events like forums and roundtables are. So jump to the budget. I just made this short table for previous 2 years when started the mandate of this governing board, so at 2023. So you can see here that the three main things regarding the income are membership fee, the money that we get from the government by the project, and the sponsorships and donations. Lower is our expenses. So you can see that membership fee and expenses for the salary of the secretary are pretty much similar. And the rest of the money goes to administration and organization of the events and publishing editions and similar. So it is a lot of administration, and each of these events or issues has a lot of actually jobs that are paid, and most of them but even always more of them are voluntarily. So this is how it looks when we come to the our budget for each year. So most of the money goes, of course, to our annual conference, which is on site. And Serbian Library Association annual conference is actually the biggest event in librarianship in Serbia. So we have on the average between 200 and 300 participants each year. We also have 4 seasonal forums for online webinars and occasional roundtables, which are on site. And they are occasional because we organize them in a short term when some of the topic comes as a priority at some moment. Of course, you can see regarding the publishing, our expenses, and we actually have this topic of financial sustainability as a very much priority topic of our governing board, because we are trying to find a way to become more financial sustainable, and we see these 3 steps as crucial steps. So it is financial diversification, cooperation, as Sharon already mentioned, partnerships, and having a majority of librarians in a country as members. These are the main 3 things, and we are working on them. I will show you now shortly regarding each of them, but it is still a lot of job. It is always a lot of job, and it is a continuous process. So when it is about financial diversification, I will just shortly go back to this slide and show you why these numbers are red, because the largest amount of our income is from the Ministry of Culture. And this is actually in a way good, because it is good to have the support of the government. But in the management of the finances, it should be none of the resources should be more than actually about 30% to we should avoid to rely heavily actually on a single income source. And when we are talking about diversifying of income streams, we actually concluded that the solution will be the project management. So we are forming, and some of the part of the team is already formed for projects, and to think about more and focus our strengths to this way to ensure some new actually streams of the income. And it is very important because to ensure actually independency in decision making and autonomy of our work. And this is all what it's necessary actually to be reliable. Recognized by our membership as reliable association, relevant also association, as Sharon mentioned. It is always important, and as you know, at this moment in Serbia, there is a very hard time regarding the politics and broader societal context. We have a lot of pressure, and it is especially important in the times like this is to be in a way independent of each of the resource or each of the income source, which is at this moment not just the situation with the Serbian Library Association. So we have this percent of 50 on the way of reaching full financial diversification. And I hope that we will have a lot of more opportunities to talk about this topic. Sharon mentioned 3 years, so we are now just on the 3rd year. Then I hope that until the end of the year we will have some new solution. But financial diversification is really must to have really opportunity to work totally independently of politics, of different societal pressure that you cannot be just out of. We are the part of the society, and we want the libraries and the association to be the part of the society. And this is why we have to secure our autonomy and stay out of the politics, of course, but still have independency in our decision making, in the choosing our topics and our partners. The second big thing in obtaining the financial sustainability is to have at least, I would say, 60% of librarians in the country as members. This is broadly important. I won't read all of these things because I think that is common for all the associations, but all of them, stronger collective voice, expanded networking, collaboration, comprehensive resources, increased attractiveness, retention of members, data that we have in a bigger range and insights to understand the library trends. So everything is actually the basis for financial sustainability. And within the Serbian Library Association, we are trying to reach it through transparency in our work, through inclusivity in organization and of the events, and also in the planning of our programs, and when it is needed and when it is possible, to have also a custom approach to a group of our members or non-members, or even to individual, if it is important to put some more effort to give the wider context of importance of being a part of the association and participate in its programs and activities. Also, we are working decentralization, as I already mentioned. It's very important in Serbia because often the biggest things are happening in the biggest cities, and we are trying to organize our activities or even just the meetings with our branches and professional committees all around the Serbia, which is also part of the financial sustainability, because I think that we have to make this first step and have to come in each part of the Serbia. It's not possible in each place, of course, but to give our hand and invite. This is ours, and to explain why that library association is actually a place for all librarians. Because if someone, there are some great people that are not always loud, and that you have to find a way to get to them. So in that sense, we have also campaigns. Each year we have some of them to show what we are actually doing, why these topics are important for everyone, to be open to hear from our members about their priorities and work on this. together with them. And currently, we have 10,000 people working in culture in Serbia, and of them, there is 3,500 working in libraries. As I mentioned, the number of our members within the Serbian Library Association, so we have maybe around 24-25% of our goal we have reached, and we will continue to work on it, of course, until I think that maybe 50 or 70% would be 50 would be optimal and 70 would be extraordinary results. Hopefully, with this our strategic, we will reach it in the future. And the third part is cooperation, or as Sharon mentioned, partnership. So our cooperation is based on the principle of sharing, because the main value of the modern librarianship is actually interdisciplinarity. So sharing is the way to raise resources and competencies, and also to grow the audience and the network. There is a lot of examples that we could share here, and I decided to share our model practice of organizing this year's summer forum that will be also in June, from 23rd of June, organized in Serbia and also Republic of Srpska, our neighboring country. And this is the model how we organize and what sharing actually means. We organize this event with other cultural institutions that are complementary with the work of the libraries, such as Archive of Vojvodina or Museum of Genocide from Belgrade, and also Memorial Center Donja Gradina from Republic of Srpska, and two more library associations that we have partnerships with. It's a Library Association of Russia and Library Association of Republic of Srpska. So in this way, dealing with a topic such as a culture of remembrance, we are widening our perspectives. We are adding value to the relevance of the topic that we are dealing with, and also sharing part of the expenses. So I think that this is the model to make one event of a higher quality with the lower expenses, and this is why I put it here as a model practice or a role model to work within the organization of the events of an association. And here we have 100%, which looks very nice on the screen, and it actually means that each of the events of the Serbian Library Association is organized in the partnership, whether it is with cultural institutions or other institutions, organizations, whether it is with a business or education and other fields, but we always have partners, and this is the model of organization that is really sustainable in a practice, and it actually really works. So this is the part that we are mostly successful in, and I believe this is also the model that other associations work similar as. Of course, the reaching and repositioning of these priorities is always a continuous process. You cannot say, I'm finished with this, now I reached this maximum of my goal and I don't have to do anything more. It is always, because times are changing, everything is changing, and it is always needed to be present, to be active, and to think out of the box and open-minded for partnerships, and also for understanding the situation. It is very important to understand a context of our work to find the right partner, and it all, of course, has to be within our strategy, has to be within our annual plans while we are organizing the events, when we are creating the content for social media or a website. We always have to have in mind this moment of importance of putting some of the elements of financial sustainability to have these events really sustainably organized. It is also important to that moment of financial sustainability of some of the actions to have it also in our communication plan and organizational culture that we very much take care of within the Serbian Library Association, and of course to have as much as often evaluation of the process and progress of reaching the financial sustainability. And this is why I'm thankful to MLAS for organizing this, because this is also the situation that we all again went through our work, and see these percentages and where we are now and what we have to do more to be better in the future. And for every association, and it is also for the Serbian Library Association, it is important to have, beside the aspirational vision and a clear mission with an active plan that we want to work on, it is very important to stay flexible, because adaptability and to be actually adaptable, but also resilient in the face of change and uncertainty, because this is the time and in the world that we live in. So change is constant, and it's faster and faster. So we have to have a clear idea and a strong action plan, but still always be flexible to adapt to some situations that we were not count on and similar. So this is also the elements of risk management. So in a shortly, that was what I wanted to share with you. Hopefully some of these slides were inspirative for you, and I believe that we will. I look forward to the next presentation that we will. I think have more perspectives. And at the end, I would like to just invite you, of course, to join us and collaborate with the Serbian Library Association. And this year, our annual conference is dedicated to the topic of libraries in the society of fast changes. So it is also, we will also speak about financial sustainability this year in this event, and I invite you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jelena. You definitely spoke to the issues and the challenges experienced by library associations, different size of library associations. And so that is important. All the speakers today are coming from different type of library associations in the terms of they are geographically different, but also different size and the members they have in the partnership. So that's why each one of your contributions is so important, and we hope that is helpful to each one of our attendees and those that will tune in later for the recording. Now I would like to welcome Matinta Mwemba from Nabuyanda from Zimbabwe, and we are so glad to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. Just to make mention that I'm from Zambia, not Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is our neighbor, so you are not far from the truth. So I can start my presentation. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So for my presentation, I'm using a phone and not a laptop because my laptop does not have volume. So I hope you just appreciate the presentation that I'm going to make to the members. So I am the president for the Library and Information Association of Zambia, an association that is looking at the interests of librarians, records managers, registry officers, and anyone who has an interest and is working in a library or an information center. So today, my presentation is basically on advancing financial sustainability for libraries. And the strategies and considerations that we are using as Library and Information Association of Zambia. Now, just to make mention in brief that LIAS is comprised of a membership of between 200 to 300, not so big, but we are hoping that we will grow the membership once we have an Act of Parliament bill where the profession will be recognized professionally. So we do not have the that recognition by government, but we do still have the support from government and from other well-wishers for our existence. So LIA's commitment to financial sustainability just comes in to just encourage the members that we need as much as possible to support access to information, education, and community resources. And this can only be done if we are able to enhance growth and efficiency of libraries and information centers across our country. So that's how we emphasize on professional development, sustainable practices, and also strategic partnerships. So I'll begin with the strategies that we have in place as LIAS, and I think we have about 4 or 5 main strategies which are sub activities that we engage in. So the first one is professional development and education. We engage in workshops. These workshops are usually focused sessions on specific skills and topics. Basically, the incentive for our members is that when we are having these workshops, the members pay less than those who are not members. So that is an incentive. Then we also have tailor-made trainings. These are customized programs for institutions. For example, we have we've had trainings with a number of ministries in government where they've engaged us to have tailor-made trainings for them where they've seen a gap in the way they operate either their registries or their libraries. Then we also have consulting services. We utilize our internal expertise. We have in our membership some members who are PhD holders, members who are lecturers in their institutions, in their academic institutions. So we utilize these members, the expertise from these members, so that we have trainings. For example, just this week, today, we started a training for one of our pensions authorities, and one of our team members, 2 of our team members, training, having that a consulting service in developing a filing and tracking system of security records. We also have webinars that we put in place for our members, and these webinars are usually to just help the membership to appreciate the modern trends. For example, we now have open science, open access, and we want our members to be abreast with the modern trends. The other one is events and fundraising. This one is specifically to help with sustainable practices and community engagement. We want to engage not just our members, but the community as well. We have as mentioned by the previous speaker, we have our annual general conference, which is a high for the members. And most of the members attend, but we are open also to sponsors. We are open to other professionals who come in to exhibit what they have in their spaces. Then we also have the charity golf tournaments and themed social events. For example, one of our spaces, libraries, has been engaged in cooking and baking classes, and they engage the community who come through to learn how to bake, how to cook, and at a very minimal fee. It's more of engaging and giving back to the community. Then we also have literacy activities and game days. We are encouraging our members in the various libraries spaces to engage with the community in board games, reading and writing skills at a minimal fee. And if the members, we encourage also the member libraries to engage cooperating partners in communities where you find the members of a community may not afford to pay even the minimum fee for a particular activity. We engage cooperating partners to come in and sponsor those activities, and they've been really helpful, and come through to sponsor. Then we also have mentorship programs. These mentorship programs for the young people, the teens, who need to be guided in what they need to do for their future. Some of the libraries, we've encouraged them to have activities like Movie Fridays. These are themed and educational sessions. So they may be, in one way or the other, they are bringing for example, the students together, but also it's an educational session, which will, whatever movies they watch, movies that will help them to go away with something that they would have learned from that particular movie. Then the other initiative is membership. We have tiered membership programs. We have institutional and individual memberships, which have varying benefits. This is just to have incentives for the memberships. Then we also have recruitment and retention campaigns. When we do the recruitment and retention campaigns, we have incentives for the would-be members that we want to recruit, and we give them some freebies just for them to feel that they are part of this team that we are, the professionals. So this also helps us to ensure that we have a consistent growth in membership. Then the other one is content and resource monetization. We have, as mentioned by the previous speaker, I think most of these activities, we learn from each other. And for me, I think that is why I'm very happy that we have this webinar today. We have publishing and content sales. We have a newsletter which comes out twice in a year. For members, we give them for free. But for those who are not members in institutions who need to also have the information that is in the newsletter, we sell at a minimum fee. We also have a journal that we publish. It's still, we haven't yet put it online, but we are already working on ensuring that it's on the open access platform, so that we have as many people accessing it. Then we have advertising opportunities as well in the newsletters, the journals, the websites, and event programs like the AGC, as I mentioned earlier on. These are spaces which give us the resources that we may need. Then we also have networks, and we have advocacy with our membership to IFLA, the African Library Association, and also IFLA. We are members of IFLA, and we are also members of the Standing Conference of Southern, Eastern, and Central African libraries, that is SCEXO. Then we also have retail and merchandise, branded merchandise. We brand tote bags, t-shirts, mugs, pens, and whatever else we see is trending in the market. And we sell those to members. For some, we give as freebies just to encourage. Those are the ones we also give to members, to the members that we are encouraging to attend. But when we are meeting maybe important dignitaries like ministers and other dignitaries, we also just package just to also sell ourselves, to show that we are not just there to request for support, but we are also doing something. Then we also have libraries where we've encouraged the particular libraries, institutions to open up bookstores, where they sell publications, merchandise, and other digital content. The other initiative is partnerships, corporate sponsors for events, and also general support, grants from foundations. For example, for the annual General Conference Awards, we usually look out for members of the public who have an interest in libraries to come up and give awards named after them to the members who may have done very well in their spaces, in their libraries, just to encourage the members to do their best. Just to make mention that just on Thursday, this past Thursday, we're invited to attend what can I call it? A function where one of our members a foundation was being unveiled in memory of one of our departed members who was really a guru in our profession. And sadly, we lost him about 2 or 3 years ago. So Liaz engaged the family to ask them that we would want to honor him and have an award in his honor. And they gladly accepted. And on top of that, they've opened up a foundation in his honor. So we are really humbled that they really came on board. But there are so many that have come on board to just support the association. Then we also have opportunities that we've grabbed. We bid for the hosting of the SCEXO 2026 next year, and we won that bid. So we are hosting the regional conference in 2026 in Livingstone. For those of you who don't know what Livingstone is, it's a tourist capital of Zambia, and that's where the mighty Victoria Falls is. And so we are hosting SCEXO 2026. We won the bid, and we are sure that the monies will come in. Somehow we will have members coming from all over, coming to attend that conference. And we also managed to bid for IFLA, the African Library Association, hosting in 2027. And we are glad that we are on firm footing. And the hosting of IFLA also, due to popular demand, will still be in Livingstone. So we also have community partnerships where we collaborate on events, where we share resources. We just went into a memorandum of understanding with the Smart Zambia initiative. Now, Smart Zambia is an institution that is looking at all the IT-related issues in the country. And they are working with us so that as information professionals, we see how we can sell the platforms, for the e-platforms for government in our libraries as information professionals. So through these strategies, LIAS really tries to reinforce its role as a champion for libraries and information, ensuring that we have financial sustainability and continued ability to serve our communities across Zambia. We are open to networking. We are open to people coming through and guiding us on where we can do better, what we can do better as a team. But basically, that is what we are doing as Library and Information Association of Zambia. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Matilda. These are just amazing examples of what you are doing. It's a mighty library association in your region, and I hope people are inspired by your drive and the powerful membership. That's the only way you can do all these things. Congratulations too. And now I would like to introduce MLAS Secretary Loida Garcia-Febo. Loida Garcia-Febo is amazing. We cannot do all the things that MLAS does without her. She has represented MLAS at the governing board when needed in other areas. And she has a great deal of experience in financial experience, sustainability. So welcome, Loida Garcia-Febo from Malaysia.
Thank you, Loida, for the introduction, kind introduction. And also thank you to everyone who is here today. I'd like to start with my presentation. It's Building Strong Library Association, Financial Sustainability. Okay, we go to the next slide. I'm asking Paria to help me in the slide. So actually, I'm also the, besides being the vice president, I would like to say I was also the treasurer of the Library Association of Malaysia for 10 years. So I think I could share my experience here in the financial aspect of the association. Next slide, please. Yes, we just like to, this is the agenda that I would like to share today with everyone. It's actually our Librarian Association of Malaysia. We are actually registered. We have a constitution. And then the latest one that has amendment is 28th of May 2022. We need to update our constitution constantly because it's the members. If the members need us to do something, we have to go, has to incorporate it into our constitution through an annual general meeting. That's why it's a living document, our constitution. I share briefly my mission of the association, the objective, and where do we get our source of income, our membership, our financial expenditure, our strategic partners and alliances with other parties and organization, and our cooperation at national, regional, and international cooperation. And of course, the last one would be what are the challenges that we are facing today. So we also have our website, Facebook, and blog for our association. Next page. Just roughly the Librarian Association of Malaysia Council, we have this structure. We have the president, the vice president 1 and 2, treasurer, and also 4 elected members and 6 appointed. And we also have committees, 19 committees, and we have cooperation with Library Association of Singapore and also Malaysian Library Association. We have regional groups because Malaysia is divided into 2 geographical areas. We have West Malaysia and East Malaysia. That's why we need to have regional group so that we are connected. And the secretary, assistant secretary, and assistant treasurer are appointed posts. So structural organizational stability is very important. Is related to sustainability, financial sustainability. We need a strong organizational structure in order that we can also sustain our financial aspect. So actually, our Librarian Association of Malaysia Council is actually a non-governmental organization, is self-governing, is a voluntary nature, and is a membership organization. That means it's It's a wholly made of all members in the organization and all our volunteers from the different libraries in the country. Next. Also the vision and also what the mission of the Librarian Association is the development and promotion and support of Malaysian library and information professional and institution in a global knowledge industry. We also have a mission here recognizing that libraries and information centers are strategic resources for national development. Persatuan Pustaka Malaysia, that is our association in the Malay language, is committed to the creation of an information-rich, knowledge-based civil society through the promotion of information equity, lifelong and independent learning, and the enhancement of library and information professionals. Next slide. So the objective, why I would like to highlight the objective of the association, because in our objective, I would like to focus on the 5 and the 6, which is to foster strategic relationship with government bodies, private agencies, and other organizations at the national, regional, and international level. And also we have in our objective is to collect funds through various activities and finance the management of the society in line with the objective of the society. So this objective will guide us in the financial sustainability of our association. Next slide. So in order to encourage our members and also is part of advocacy of our library association, we need to have one of our objective is to encourage and support research as well as the production of publication. For our library association, we do come out with newsletter, like for example, we had also Miss Ellen Tai last, the president-elect, we have a few past IFLA president visiting Malaysia, and then we do have them in our newsletter. This newsletter is published every quarterly. That is called Berita PPM, as you can see here. We also help in the standard for university libraries. We also have the academic journal, that is the Malaysian Journal of Malaysian Librarian, where you have the academic journals. And we also publish like, for example, we hosted IFLA WAIC in 2018. So we come out with a publication, as you can see on the screen here, Libraries in Malaysia. And also we have a handbooks of the Librarian Association of Malaysia, where we do have in the constitution as well as the code of ethics and also the some of the aspect of the term of reference for all the committees in the Library Association. So this will help us to guide us in our daily involvement in the Library Association. And also this is also part of advocacy, because we distribute some of this publication. It's free for the members, and we also sell it at a very minimal cost for those who are non-members of the association. Next slide. So strategic partners and alliances, as we have in our objective of the association, we have the governmental bodies of government bodies. Of course, we have the government of Malaysia as our strategic partners. We also have with the National Library of Malaysia, because that's the main body that's actually oversee all the libraries development in Malaysia. We also have, I think this is the Malaysia Convention Exhibition Bureau. I think every country has this to help us when we have bidding for international convention or regional convention. We need to have their cooperation. That means they will help us in the bid, to how to document the bid and all those. This will be the agency, is a government agency that would help us. And we also work with all the academic, public, special library, and all types of libraries in Malaysia, because we need to work together, because we can't work alone, Librarian Association, with only all volunteers. We need to have partnership with everyone and all types of organization in the country, and also the local authority, like we are in Kuala Lumpur, so we need to work with the Kuala Lumpur City Council. And also we need to work with private agency, like for example, library vendors, and also corporate bodies like the banks and any of these transportation companies. So library vendors has actually worked very closely with Library Association. They always help us, especially when we are having any big conferences, or so that they will help us in terms of maybe we will have an exhibition there, they will be participating as exhibitor. They will be also giving grants to our conference participant to participate in our conference. Like now, we have the coming conference next week. That is the 19th conference of Southeast Asian Librarians, which we held on the 16th to 19th of June in Kuala Lumpur. We have almost 25 libraries vendors who's going to participate in our conference, and they have helped us very much to get participants, as well as to financially also in helping us. And also organization at national, regional, and international level. For national level, or just at we have worked with Malaysian Book Publisher Association. Only last week we had the Malaysian Book Association book fair. Every year we have a book fair, so we work with them to help in reading activities and whole activities during the book fair. We have the one that we are having now next week that is called the Congress of Southeast Asian Librarians. This is an association of 10 library associations in Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia has 10 library associations, and we have this called CONSAL that was established in 1970. So this year, every 3 years, a congress is being held, and then we work very closely with all the 10 library associations to bring out the latest best practices that we have during these conferences, and to share our knowledge and resources and expertise. So we also have, of course, the International Federation of Library Association and Institution. We are a member of IFLA since 1972, and we are very grateful that we are also a members of IFLA, because we have hosted IFLA WLIC in 2018, as you can see in the logo here, the red color Twin Tower. It was a very successful conference, I should say. And it's not only from the financial aspect that we do partnership or strategic alliances, it's to actually help our profession, more of helping our profession to expose them to what librarianship is in the world, not only in our country, and give them an opportunity to be able to meet librarians from all over the world, because we cannot afford to go overseas because it's so expensive. So we need to bring international or regional association to our country so that we can learn from them. So actually it's a very successful in the way that, for example, I just like to say here, it's good to bid for WLIC, because after we bid, everybody seems to recognize, I mean, like when we stand for election, IFLA election, all of our candidates, if we send 5 or we send 8, all of them got elected into the committee that is standing for. So this is a show that what IFLA, when you participate in this type of organization, regional or international, is good for your profession. So the other one is the UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. This one we also have. That one is the library map of the world. We also participate in that. And Kuala Lumpur is the capital city of the world also. You have been recognized after we host our IFLA in 2020, we will be recognized as the World Book Capital for Kuala Lumpur. So you can see the effect of a partnership, and also how we should actually work with other organizations in order to what it called our association will be advanced better. So next slide. We also on the 6th, our Constitution allow us to collect funds through various activities and finance the management of society in line with the objective of the society. So we can undertake fundraising activities like we collect donation in cash and kind to finance activity consistent with the objective of the association. And we also invest and operate banks account and negotiate bank loans from banks from other financial institutions. That means we acquire property also. Actually, our association through our fundraising, we managed to buy a building for the association, but because the building was not in a strategic location, we sold the property, the building, and we put it into the bank, and we put it as a fixed investment. So we use the money that we generate, the interest, to finance also our association. So association also need to invest so that we can have some interest from the investment that we have to also to finance our association. Next. Okay, what are our sources of income for the association? One will be our registration fees, which is an annual fee which we collect only €2. Is very, very low because most of them say they can't afford to pay a high membership. So we amended our constitution to make it as low as possible so everybody can join the association. And our membership fees only range from even €0.5 to only the highest is €120. That is for the lifetime members. And we also, through donation that we can receive and also collect, and economics activity and conferences, like I mentioned, the one that we're going to have, the CONSAL, and also through workshop, we can have some source of income because we also have many librarians and professors who are members of our library association. So they do conduct courses and share their resources. And also sometimes most of us, we do it without any remuneration. That means you will do it as a volunteer, as to give share our knowledge. Next. So the category of membership I just like to share with us, we actually have in our register is 2008, but actually that is active is not, I mean, this active means they are still paying their fees. It's not many, it's about only 400 to 500. And of course, the most professional members are, of course, the professional members. That means those who have library qualification. We make up 65%, and then we also have the student members. We have 4 library schools in Malaysia, so they are also student members and also associate affiliate. That means they are individual members who are not librarians. So, and then the rest are all institutional members. We have a lot. That means there are libraries that are institutional association of the so these are basically our life members. So this is actually the core of our human resource. In anything, we need human resource to carry out the activities of the association. Next. Then, of course, this is just roughly to show that we have the annual fees corrected, as it's not much, as you can see, it's getting down to 2024. Is paying members also has gone down, but we still have to try to encourage them to pay their membership fees. Next. And expenditure, we have fixed expenditure, that's administrative expenditures. That means for we do have an office at the National Library of Malaysia, and then we are quite fortunate because there is a free office there, and we don't need to pay any rental. And then also the executive, you only have one that we need to pay is the executive officer. We have one that we have it, and then the IFLA membership fees, and also we have auditors. There's auditors that we need to have because we are we have to be transparent, and then our accounts are being audited every year and has to be presented to all the members during the annual general meetings. Next. And then this is just the investment, the current financial status. Next. Okay, these are some of the activities like the World Book Library. So we managed to work with the Kuala Lumpur City Council. So we managed to come out with this book called Read, Kuala Lumpur Read. And also we managed to make it into a poster, and we participated in the IFLA session using this World Book Capital project. Next. And we also have our challenges, that is the source of funding. Of course, when you see just now, our source of funding is less than the expenditure that we spend every year. And then just a few days ago, we have our National Librarian Day on the 6th of June. This we are trying to get it recognized as a day that we can been recognized, like like Nurses Day, or that is a national recognition. And of course the membership retention, and you can see just now the number that are paying their membership fees has decreased. And also we try to get another building in a strategic location, but it's very difficult with the rising cost of property. We're not able to do that at the moment. So these are the challenges that we face at the moment. So next slide. So this is the one that we're talking about. We're going to have the Congress of Southeast Asian. So this is held every 3 years, and it's by rotation basis. It's not by bidding. So the countries in Southeast Asia take turns to host this conference. So it's we also have participants from other countries, not only Southeast Asia. So this is what I would like to share today. So thank you very much, everyone. I think Loida has, she said that she'll leave early today because she has a matter to attend to. So we will continue with the next presentation by Mr. Luis and also Mr. Duncan. Can you please present your next presentation? Is overview of CILIP's responses to challenges and opportunities, including investing in improving digital services for members, stronger cyber security, diversifying income in line with the profession, ethical values, developing flexible capability, and expanding its international offer to individual and organization in the sector. Please. We have Luis and also Mr. Duncan.
Afternoon. Hopefully Louis is with us. He certainly was on the call, but if he's not able to come to mic and speak, then perhaps we can move to the last speaker and it will give Louis a chance to reconnect.
We have 2 people with the same name in the conference. So maybe let me just look just a second.
Looks like he has joined us again.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can now, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm clearly rusty at this. Thank you all. So you can hear me okay? Hope you can see me. Can you see my slides and not my notes?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thanks, Duncan. So yeah, thanks for having us. I'm Louis Coiffé-Gunn. I'm CEO at CILIP, about 13 months in post. My background's in policy roles and adjacent sectors to this one, mainly in and around government, education, research policy in universities, and in publishing. Over to you, Duncan.
Yeah, hi everyone. Afternoon from me. So I'm Duncan Anthony. I'm Chief Commercial Officer for CILIP. Been with the organisation a couple of years and focused on growing our membership and developing our digital capabilities as well. So nice to be here with you. Great,
thank you. I don't know if I posted it to everybody, but I did put links to the presentation and our email addresses if people have questions. I don't know if everyone can see that. I'll have another go later maybe, but you can see the link there up at the top right if you need it. Okay. So here's what we plan to cover: some quick introductions to CILIP, a little bit about the opportunities and threats that we see, many of which I'm sure will be familiar by the sounds of the other presentations, and then share some of our responses to try and ensure our financial sustainability and growth. So what is CILIP? If you're not familiar with us, we're lots of different things. We're the only sector organisation in the world that can put letters after your name through our professional registration process. So, for example, enabling you to be a chartered librarian. This picture shows the letter from the Queen and the royal seal. We need to get it up on the wall in our new office. We don't just represent and support our members, but also the wider information profession, and that's all sectors and for people at all stages of their career. And it's not just libraries, it's knowledge and information as well. And the purpose of CILIP, as laid out in that Royal Charter, is for us to help the profession to have a positive impact on society. So that's our kind of why, our purpose, why we exist. You can see in italics a summary of that. And it's very much about empowering the profession and focusing on impact. So how do we do that? How do we help the profession to have that impact? So we have thousands of individual, hundreds of organizational members, mainly in the UK, but not exclusively. We've developed 3 equal pathways into the profession. So one of those is what people sometimes call library school, so higher education courses. So we accredit those courses around the world through our learning partner program. We've also developed a new vocational apprenticeship program, which we assess through a separate trading arm called CILIP Pathways. And again, we're the only organisation with that professional registration process and the Royal Charter. So you can become a chartered knowledge manager or chartered librarian or fellow or get certificate. We deliver lots of training and professional development for individuals, but we also do skills audits, organizational development for employers through our employer partner program. And then we think about the whole sector with activities like workforce mapping and advocacy, which I'll talk a little bit about. And we also provide community, so we help our members follow their interests and find others who share those interests. And then finally, our professional knowledge and skills base, or PKSB, is a really detailed skills standard that gives a structure for what you should know and be able to do at all points of your career, anywhere in the information profession. And it's got our professional values at its heart. We're not a union. So a little bit on the context. So we're currently developing our next 5-year strategy, and these are some of the insights from this process. I won't read them all out. This is the result from lots of conversation, lots of virtual and physical post-it notes. So we think there's a huge opportunity on a wide range of issues, as Sharon laid out in particular, just in terms of there's a really growing societal need for what this profession offers. As other speakers have said, we need to work with partners more, including hopefully some people on this call. We've developed those different routes into the profession. We need to upskill and empower our workforce. And we need to leverage the existing evidence base better to really show our impact with really compelling stats and stories. I won't read all the threats out because it's too depressing, but we know it's tough. It's tough for everybody. In our country, there's low growth, low productivity, low investment in skills by employers. There's sustained funding challenges for lots of our different sectors, whether that's public libraries or schools or universities. And then you've got kind of lots of rapid change, especially around technology, but also things like the climate and inequality. I think a risk to our profession is around not keeping up, not being relevant with how information is accessed and used today, and the skills that people need to access it and make use of it, and the skills that our workforce needs to help them do that. And we've also, as others have talked about, got an aging workforce, so we need to make sure we transition to that next generation. And again, there seems to be lots of competition, especially from the tech sector. Now, one of the reasons advocacy is here is because the whole purpose of our advocacy is to have an impact on behalf of our members, whether that's with funders or with government, but it's also to attract people to us, to attract politicians, to attract funders, partners, and members, and to retain our members. So beyond a few project grants that we win from the UK government, we're mainly member funded. and that has implications for our financial model and sustainability. On the one hand, it gives us the independence to advocate for our members and for the wide sector, including trying to influence government. And they expect us to very actively influence government at all levels, so local, regional, national, as well as influence other funders. So doing advocacy well raises our profile, attracts members, supports our sustainability and growth. So we run a range of very proactive campaigns on everything from health and trust to inclusion and technology, on top of the kind of day-to-day reactive press and public affairs activity. As I mentioned, we need to really leverage the existing evidence base better and win funding to gather new evidence about the impact of the sector. And we need to show the sector's impact with stats and stories, and CILIP's role in enabling that. It works best when we work with partner organizations and empower our community of expert members. That's the most effective and sustainable way to advocate, as our 50 staff can only do so much on their own. So that's why we worked with a specialist public affairs firm called Inflect to develop this toolkit on the bottom right. It's called CILIP Connect. It's an advocacy toolkit to help members engage politicians directly. It's got template letters inviting them to visit and things that they should think about ahead of such visits. Okay, I'll be quiet now and hand over to Duncan.
Thank you, Louis. So a little bit of a change of pace now. I'm going to talk about our digital transformation work. So it's a really exciting time for CILIP, especially thinking about some of those opportunities that Louis run through there. And we're very focused currently on developing flexible digital capabilities and really trying to empower our communities through that technology and innovation. I'll give you some insight into that over the next couple of minutes. So at the heart of the Digital Improvement Programme, to streamline our processes and improve member experience and create that really good environment for growth, is the replacement of our membership management system, or our CRM. There's several drivers for this. Ultimately, we see it as a really critical tool for improving engagement across our audiences. Making better use of the data that we have is very much at the heart of our growth strategy, and the new system is going to allow us to create a more holistic way of operating across our marketing, communications, membership and fundraising teams as well. So it will enable us to automate a lot of our marketing, our attraction work and our member acquisition work to grow individual membership. And we'll be able to use the insight that we're getting through our data to tailor messages to the membership, and that's going to help us improve our reach, free up our time to focus on higher value relationship building, particularly with our employer partners, as Louis mentioned before. That's a big part of our work. We've got over 150 employer partners, and we see huge potential for growth within that. Part of the modernisation work includes our member portal. So this is the area that members will log into to access their membership information. We're introducing a lot more options for members to self-serve and complete basic admin tasks on their own terms, and that's going to improve not only their experience but also free up staff time so that we can focus more on strategically important activity. Next one, please, Louis. So supporting those ambitions then is the development of a new website and content management system. So that will launch early next year. We're working on it now. We're refreshing our branding as part of that work to give us a modernised look, but still retaining that real deep sense of expertise and trustworthiness that our brand's been built upon for many years. And the new website will let us showcase our work more clearly, and it's going to help nudge non-members towards becoming a member, and it will nudge our members towards our other commercial offerings, so our training, our webinars, our events, etc. And as well as that new member portal that I mentioned, we'll create a much more user-friendly experience for members and help them find the key information they need far more easily. But we're also looking to deepen the connections that our members have, not just with us as an organisation, but also with each other. And one way we're looking to achieve that is by launching a membership community engagement platform. So next slide, please. So this engagement platform is a dedicated space for members. They can connect with each other, share ideas, collaborate really closely and showcase their work. And it gives our members opportunities to connect in different ways, and it's really a key part of our approach. And in some ways, it's a response to the trend that we're seeing of members expecting and often demanding better digital services and quicker access to information. So that venture's a really great tool for meeting those needs and deepening those connections with our audiences. So part of the digital improvement work is also upgrading our back-end operations. That's firstly to make sure our staff have the tools that they need, but also that members get the level of service that they expect. So a big part of that is making sure we're managing risk effectively, including increasing the importance that we place on our cyber security efforts. So we've updated our finance system. We can now be much more responsive to member requests and produce better reports and financial analysis. So that's supporting real-time decision-making. And we've strengthened our digital security by several actions, including making sure our key volunteers are using CILIP systems rather than their own devices. And we're also really pleased to have gained Cyber Security Essentials Plus accreditation. And for those that don't know, that is an accreditation that demonstrates an enhanced level of data security and improved compliance. And just as important as risk management, it also gives us a competitive advantage because our funders, including the UK government, look favourably on having that level of security. So another example of leveraging digital technology to improve our commercial activity is the launch of CILIP Learn. This is something we're really excited about. It will go live at the same time as our new website and act as an all-encompassing platform and brand for our training offer. So all of our training webinars will sit within the Learn platform, but it also gives us the opportunity to showcase the learning offers of our trusted partners and brand those as part of our sector-relevant training. So again, the importance of partnership building right at the heart of everything that we're doing. And then I just wanted to touch a little bit on some of the flexible capabilities that I started with. So all of this digital improvement work designed to make us more flexible, more responsive, and much more member focused as an operation. And we recognise that we need to be all of those things in order to respond effectively to the challenges that Louis started to outline. And whether we're talking about flexibility in the way we work with partners or funders, or the way we share information, or even how our staff work together in a more hybrid way, the most important thing for us is making sure that everything we do is scalable and future-proof so that we can take advantage of whatever opportunities come our way. What do those opportunities look like for us? Membership is making up almost half of our income. We definitely see that as a growth area, particularly with those employer partners, as I outlined. And then CILIP Learn has great potential, really exciting venture, and we see lots of opportunity for our funded research and consultancy services as well. So those are the areas we want to focus on by freeing up time through the digital improvements we're making. And of course, as Sharon talked about when we started this meeting, particularly in relation to those funded opportunities, we want to make sure we're being selective and bidding for the projects that really support our strategy and our long-term aims. I'll hand back to Louis.
Brilliant. Thanks for zipping through that, Duncan. A couple more slides from us. I know there's one more speaker and we're running over. So one of the strengths of our profession, as compared to, say, the technology or the publishing sectors, is our deep commitment to ethics and to values. So here you can see they sit at the heart of our skills standard, the professional knowledge and skills base. And that's the framework we use in the professional registration process to guide what you should know and be able to do, whatever point you are in your career, and then to demonstrate that to get chartership or another level. And here you can see what for CILIP those 7 ethical principles are, and they're not only intended to guide the people and organisations across the profession, but us as well. And that includes commercial decisions. So if we have a new funder, supplier or partner, do they support our ethics? For instance, we've just started working with Google on an information literacy program. It's not fully public yet, but we've been asking ourselves, can we do that in a way that stays true to those 7 principles? And the answer is we think so. We've looked at what other associations have done, such as the ALA and Public Libraries 2030 in Europe. We've since checked the program's evidence base with our expert members, and we think overall it will have a positive impact. We're also trying to make more evidence-informed decisions. So as Duncan's led on a clear and simple set of KPIs for us, which our digital improvement work will help report on. So that should allow us to make both values-based and evidence-based or informed decisions. And then finally, we're trying to improve our governance processes and our documents, including an external review of our charter and all the other legal documents that we're kind of based on. And all of that, I would say, takes resources to do properly. So just talking a bit about what the future looks like. So I've talked a bit about advocacy. Duncan's talked a bit about if somebody joins us, how their experience is going to improve, and then a little bit about how we make decisions and the values that guide us. Here's a big part of our kind of ongoing sustainability. So we have an international strategy. It's in the links in the notes. We've shared the slides, and there's a number of offers that we have globally that we're trying to expand. So one of them is individual members. We have lots of international individual members. For example, I had a good conversation with the Ukrainian Association yesterday, where we're currently offering them free membership since the war started in Ukraine. But we do have a number of paying individuals around the world. We also have employer partner members, which Duncan mentioned, and that's a kind of bundle of individual memberships they get, skills audit, training, and other services for anybody in the sector who employs information professionals. And we have a number of international employer partner members. We also have what we call learning partners. So we accredit library and information science higher education courses around the world, all of the ones in the UK, and then a similar number overseas. And we also, the third category of kind of organizational membership are our supplier partners. So they're the organizations that provide services to the sector. We also license our intellectual property often, so things like the PKSB, and we also do bespoke training and consultancy on request with different organizations, both across the UK and overseas. Okay, last slide from us. So we're just developing our new 5-year strategy. It's really focused on visibly growing the profession's impact, and we're going to do that by empowering our members, our volunteers, and our partners. As others have mentioned, we can only do so much alone. We're far stronger and more sustainable working with others. That involves aligning our goals wherever we can, sharing resources and risks, and also sharing successes. So a couple of opportunities if you do want to get involved. We're currently got a public survey that's open till the 4th of July, completely anonymous. All the questions are optional. So if there's anything you'd like to see CILIP do by 2030, perhaps around that international offer or our partnerships, then let us know. You've also got our email addresses, and we're also sharing an early draft of the strategy with partner organizations as critical friends to make sure that when the final strategy is produced, it works for as many other organizations and members as possible. So you can request a copy of that. So that's it from us. Thank you very much. I don't know if there will be time for questions or who's going to chair us, but you've got our details in the chat if not, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luis and Duncan, for a very insightful presentation. Since we are actually over the time allocated for the webinar, can we continue with the next presenter? That is Mr. Brett Bonfield from the American Library Association Endowment Trustee. Please welcome Mr. Brett.
Unmute. Now, you can see my slides?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I am not speaking today in the capacity of my paid work. I'm the executive director at the New Jersey Library Association, and I will add a little bit of information to the chat about that. But I am talking today about volunteer work I do for the American Library Association, where I'm an endowment trustee. This is kind of more of an aspirational thing for groups that do not currently have an endowment, but it's a useful tool for sustainability long term. So the slides that I'm sharing are taken in part from a presentation that was given to the American Library Association Endowment Trustees at our most recent meeting. Our investment advisor is the Batia Group, which is part of Merrill Lynch's Wealth Management Group, which is a subsidiary of the Bank of America. They have been our investment advisors for about 30 years, roughly the duration of the time that the American Library Association has had a larger and more formal endowment. So this is the asset allocation that we had as of March 31st, which is what they reported on at the last meeting. You can see on the right of your screen, our investment policy statement calls for us to aim to have 5% in cash, 15% in alternatives, things like private equity, 30% in fixed income, which basically are bonds, and roughly 50% in stocks. Again, those are the target allocations. You'll see in a subsequent slide that we have some bands around it. We were pretty close, and the value of the endowment was just over 63 million when we met last time. These are the investments in the endowment. And again, at the top of the screen, you can see those bands I was talking about, the minimum and maximum. For instance, in domestic equities, US equities, we could have as little as 30% or as much as 70%. Our target is 50%, and we were right on target, as I showed in the previous slide, right at 50%. And then again, you can see that for international equities, so for our purposes, that's stocks and companies that are not based in the United States, we could have as little as 0% or as much as 20%, et cetera. And you can see in the column at the far right that we were awfully close, within, 0 to 2% or negative 2% of those goals. Again, the idea in having these different allocations is that we want to be really transparent in terms of the investments that we have, because we have two audiences. Part of it is the American Library Association members, as represented by the American Library Association Council and its executive board, and they need to feel comfortable putting money into the endowment. For instance, when the American Library Association sold its building in Chicago a few years ago, a lot of the proceeds went into the endowment. They had to feel comfortable that it would be invested in a way that they felt comfortable with. And the same thing with donors. Again, a lot of the investments in the endowment along the way have come from people who either made direct contributions or left the American Library Association in their estate planning, in their wills, so they gave us money when they died, and they had to feel comfortable that the American Library Association would preserve that funding and use it in ways that they felt comfortable with. Again, as I showed, well, you can see at the bottom of this screen, there is 63 million in the endowment. We recently got a commitment for about $30 to $35 million in somebody's will. I mean, they're still very much alive, and we hope that they continue to be alive for a very long time. But when they die, we will get, again, 50% of the value of the endowment directly from them that they'll have us invest long term. You can also see at the bottom that we always try to prioritize ESG investments as well as investments that are run by companies that are owned by people who are traditionally underrepresented within the United States. So again, when we can find investments that meet our needs, we're going to choose ESG or diversity investments. This is an example of, where we were at the beginning of the meeting. Our investment advisors recommended that we reduce one fund and put the proceeds of that into a different fund. And the idea was to shift more of our funding to an international fund. The endowment trustees voted to accept that recommendation. So at the end of the meeting, this was our endowment allocation. This shows the growth of the endowment over time, again, going back to when we first started working with the Batia Group on October 17th, 1994. Again, through March 31st, 2025, the blue line represents the growth of the endowment over time, and the bottom line represents the amount of money that was actually put into the endowment versus the amount of money that was taken out of it, because we make distributions each year. And this represents their performance because, again, as you saw, we in the very first slide, we have a mix of bonds, stocks, alternative investments, and cash. So we need to know, how an investment pool that meets those basic requirements should perform. And so there are benchmarks for each of them. So again, the Russell 3000 represents domestic stocks, et cetera. And so they do a blended index, and you can see, again, the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year performance against the blended index, as well as the individual components of that index. A little bit about the endowment trustees. There are 6 of us, along with the treasurer. We serve 3-year terms, and we can be reappointed, but no more than 2 terms can be consecutive. We do have endowment trustees who walk away and then come back. So there are 7 of us who manage the endowment. And again, you can see what we have the authority to do, but it's pretty much what you would expect, so I won't read it to you. There is extensive documentation. Again, a big part of what we're doing isn't just that we are doing a good job of raising money and managing risk, but that we're transparent. Again, we have to make sure that our members trust us, that donors trust us. And so we update our policies fairly frequently, and evaluate our advisor every 3 to 6 years, even though we have continued to choose the same advisor over and over and over and over again. They are evaluated. And so I was part of the endowment trustees when we evaluated their performance and put out a request for proposals, and chose to continue working with them. But we do look at our investment policy statement and spending formulas on an ongoing basis. The spending formula is really complicated, but essentially we give 5% of the value of the endowment to the American Library Association and its divisions to spend every year. And again, there are different funds within that endowment, but the pools are managed together. So for instance, there may be a scholarship fund, and we might give 5% of the value of that scholarship fund each year for that scholarship, but the actual corpus of the scholarship fund is managed alongside all the rest of the funds. So again, we look at these documents on a regular basis. If you go to the American Library Association website, you can see each of these documents, and particularly you might want to look at the cost structure. It is important for us both to do as well as we can in terms of investment return, but also managing our costs so that we're not overspending. So I went through quickly because you are busy people, but I want to make sure that if you do have any questions, you are able to have them answered. So I will stop sharing.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Brett Pompeo, for your insightful and sharing with us about the endowment trustees. We have come to the end of our 6th presentation. Praria, do you have any, because we have actually overshot our webinar time, is almost half an hour. We're supposed to be 1.5 hours. Now we have almost 2 hours for our webinar. Do you have any question for the speakers?
I don't see any questions in the chat. I think Jelena already answered them, so thank you.
So on behalf of the chair of the MLAS, and also we'd like to thank all our speakers today for your very insightful sharing, and we actually would like to build strong library association with all our association in the world. We hope that this webinar will help our members and also Library Association to move forward. Thank you very much, and everyone have a good day all.